It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Humanity Junction. My name is Heath, and as people are joking about in the chat, tonight I thought we'd have a little conversation about technology as a tool, not as an obstacle. And Mr. Pictovid is pointing out, what if the point of the technology is to be an obstacle? Well, then that's the point of the tool. So it's all about just we're in a hobby that can be very technologically based, model railroading, and I've gotten really into the technology side of it, so I like having these technology talks, and lately they've been a lot about streaming. So I've noticed a couple incidents on a few other channels where trolls have come up, and it usually turns into uh, kind of a bad situation, I guess, for the streamer. And I just sort of wanted to look into what I can do to kind of mitigate it. I can't do stuff to completely eliminate it, just because of the kind of streams that I want to be able to run. I want to be able to invite people up, and when you invite people up, sometimes that kind of things happens. So let's just say hello, see who's here in the chat, and then we'll get back to a little tech talk. Chicago South Shore and South Doki. I don't believe you've been here before, so welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have D. Klinger Railroad Productions. We have Dragon Lover 68. Dwight Curley joining us as well. Edward Cady in the house. And speaking of trolls, we have Frank Steeler Fan 820. Just joking with you, Frank. Lynn McCurdy's checking in as well. Eminem Short Lines Railroad is here. And Andrew, Mr. Pictovid, also Mr. Hot Dog, as I like to refer to him. Mr. Southern Railways joining us. Rick Bailey checking in. Roy Eltham in the house. We've got John from Schuylkill River Valley here as well. And we have Trains and Things, K&R Custom Models. I'm guessing that is Rich here. I did just see somebody pop in, but I apologize. Oh, Randall Meadows just joined us as well. Thanks everyone for coming and hanging out. I really appreciate you all being here. And that was really loud. I don't know if that was really loud for everybody or just for me. But Rick Bailey says, not a troll. He promises, but he is a tree. That is very, very true. So, Rick, welcome. Now, Adam's claiming he's not a troll either. Timothy DeMarco just subscribed. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Roy Alpham says one more dollar. Says Rick is a troll. Promise. So there we go. So how is it? It is coming through really loud. I'm not sure how to turn it down without like playing it again. And oh, I know how to turn it down. Give me a second, everyone. I apologize. I've been, making a lot of changes to things, and sometimes you miss something here or there. So let's get into this. The Super Stinger. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow, we had that cranked up. Let's bring it down to, I don't know what's going to be a good volume. Let's take it to -4 dB and let's do a little test. That was still really loud. That did not seem to fix things at all, but Rich, thank you so much for the super chat, $4.99. Oh, actually, that's a super sticker. How's it going? Yeah, I like the super stickers don't show up down here, but the super chats do, but I still get the... Anyway, let's get back to our tech talk, and next time I play that super chat thing, I'll try and... I don't know why that's doing that. I'll try and figure it out as we go. I think there's a couple places where it could be happening, and let me look here real quick. ID 25. Let me get a button 25, which is this guy. Volume. Oh, volume 1. Yeah. That's why it's so loud. Let's take that down to a 0.7. And that should, that will hopefully fix that. And we'll go from there. So, what I, 7. I don't know why that didn't fix, oh, no, I don't know why that didn't fix it. Let me go back here. 0.7. Oh, I think I know why. I know why. Boy, I apologize for that being so loud. That's kind of killing me as well. Yeah. Technology again, I think it was still up at full. I used this how can I show you guys what's going on? Let's see. Let me move this over here. Yeah, just because I think people might be interested. So I actually have 2 panels right now. To run this show, it just takes a lot. It just takes a lot more buttons. Edward Katie says that I'm trolling myself. I really am. I'm causing all kinds of problems, and I'm wearing earphones too, so like it's loud for me. So what happened is I have two iPads here, and I kept pushing the super chat on this bottom one, and I changed the top one. So everyone cover your ears for one. Everyone cover your ears for 1 second. We're gonna push that button, and hopefully it won't be as loud. There we go. I think that was a bearable level, or at least I hope that was a bearable level. So tonight I wanted to talk. Yeah, Mr. Picto with 2 iPads. Yeah, they're 2 iPads, but the top one is a 2nd generation iPad, so an iPad 2. So it's really old. The batteries are dead on it. It's got one of those old style. I don't know if you guys remember. It's got one of those real like old style connectors on it. So this thing is like ancient, and then the bottom one's a little bit newer, but still, still a still an older iPad. They're definitely not modern iPads. Yeah, much better. Great, 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 great. So Timothy DeMarco, what is a troll? That's a great question. So a troll is somebody that will join a stream or make a comment just to kind of be difficult to some extent. So what what I'm trying to prevent specifically that I've seen on some other people's streams, and I'm not really big enough at this point that I think it really uh, uh, I don't think I'm getting the trolls that some of these other people are getting because of the size of their channels. But Frank says he's a troll. Uh, what keeps happening is, or what people do is, they'll come onto a stream. I will sometimes post, come join me on the chat, or come join me live, right? And anybody in the chat can click on that and come up here. And what I've seen twice now is where people have done sort of pornographic things and have played audio that is very just inappropriate audio, inappropriate visuals. And what I was struggling with is I still want to be able to post the links in the chat, because that's what I really like. I really like being able to bring people up and have conversations with people that, and people that I haven't met before. So, it's easy when I know the person. They come up in my basement, I see them, I know who they are. But when they're people that I don't know, sometimes it's a little bit hard. I noticed my little window is frozen. I was trying to figure out why. Sometimes it's hard to tell who they are. And we joke around sometimes and say, like, oh, like, Frank is joking that he's a troll. And, yes, like, we troll each other for fun, but that's kind of amongst friends. I'm not talking about sort of that friendly trolling. I'm talking about that trolling that's disruptive to the show. And Mr. Bertovan saying you need an off-screen screening room, and I do. Let's go here, and I think if we go to screen share and go to, I think, this one. Nope. We go to this one. There we go. So on the screen right now, you can kind of see that on the right side of the screen, kind of just under where I am now, is actually what is my basement. So that over there, I can see people coming in, and then I have to click buttons to actually, bring somebody up. And yeah, I'm talking about jerks, basically. And and this is what it is too. What Randall's saying is so factual. Is they intentionally make themselves look really normal. Like when you look at their picture and you look at their name, you go, "Oh, okay, this like sounds like a regular person." Like if Edward Cady came up here and I saw his name and I saw his picture, I'd go, "Oh, like he looks normal." But then like when I actually start talking to him, you realize that, he could be a troll. But yeah, so you report it. You report it while you can. But when you're doing a show like this, I mean, you guys saw I have 2 iPads worth of buttons here. So if a troll does come up and they do sort of get past the screening process and make it up on screen, in order for me to then remove them from the screen, I've got 2 iPads full of touchscreen buttons. And anybody that's ever used a touchscreen knows that when you press a button on a touchscreen, it doesn't ever actually, it's never 100%. So what I wanted to find was a specific hardware button. Sorry, I'm just looking at something. I wanted to find a specific hardware button that was like like I really wanted like a big red e-stop button, but I couldn't find an e-stop button. But what I did find is this USB volume controller. And it works with all different kind of computers, and the top of it is, like a mute unmute button. And I did some research, and it claimed it was programmable. And my idea was that I would program it, and I'll show you as an example, but I would program it to go to my we're experiencing technical difficulties, so that, if a troll popped up, I'd just hit the button and it would just instantly take me out of it. But like if I had to look at the touch screen and hit that button and make sure that that happened, I don't know that I can do that. And this is a good point. So radio stations, when you call into a radio station, they're usually on at least a 7-second delay. The Super Bowl situation, they didn't have a delay on it when it was live, but it sort of changed a lot of television for live on TV. And what the problem with those is that those delay systems, at least the ones I'm familiar with, are like $100,000 to start. I mean, to be able to hit that button and get that 7-second delay for it to basically skip ahead 7 seconds, and then to have all the algorithms and everything to catch up to it, it's very expensive. It's very, very expensive. DB Tech, no, I do not unfortunately have a discount from them, and I actually don't know. I don't know if anybody does or not, actually. So, but that's a good question. That would be a good discount code to get. Randall says, what I have trouble with is when you're running trains or doing something else and they pop up when you're not near the camera. And that's what one of the last ones that I saw, the person was actually pretty tricky. It popped up and it seemed like it was a normal person. The guy's name was Donnie. He was driving his semi truck, which we have some, long distance truckers in here. So it looked, Mark saying $100,000, just add it to your Amazon wish list. Yeah, so it's not so the key is it's not the internet delay, because if just I delay from my stream to YouTube, I can't then actually sort of catch it and stop it. So what I'm trying to do is basically have this button here where if a troll does show up, I don't have to fiddle for anything. It's just you hit the button, and just like that, they're gone. Yeah. So right. So Keith, who I happen to know, right? But instead of CA&P Railroad, let's say Keith popped up in my basement, and he had his name as Keith, and I looked at him and I saw him, and he happened to be in the cab of his truck, which he is sometimes. I would think, oh, he's a member of our community. He looks like a normal guy. He's in his truck. We know truckers. So then I bring him up. So now I've got somebody who I don't know, right? That I've brought up live because I thought they were normal. And then they do something that's not appropriate. And, so basically what's going to happen is the idea is I'd hit this button and it would immediately go to that screen. So, I get that I wouldn't be stopping it completely, but it would be much, much faster. Now, I've been trying for about 3 hours to get into the programming mode of this button. And what's supposed to happen is, you see there's a little blue light on it. And what's supposed to happen is you hold the button down, right? So I'm actually squeezing it. And then you plug it in. And then when you let go, it's supposed to go into programming mode. But it's not. And uh, I can't get it into programming mode. So I can tell you what I'm planning to do, and I'll show you. I can show you a little bit in the settings of OBS what I'm going to do, but unfortunately, I can't actually make it happen. So if anybody knows of like a big button, a big simple like USB button that's programmable, Rick, I've held it for 2 minutes, and it's um, I can show you something actually. If we go to the screen share, if we go here, so this is actually the website, and you click here and you go to the instructions, and this tells you, basically these are all the instructions of how to do it. And when I didn't, somebody on Amazon posted that this version is programmable. But if you go and you look at the pictures, it doesn't show this model. So I think I need to go back on Amazon and do a little comparison and try and figure this out. Try and figure out which one of the, it looks like this one, it looks like this first one is a programmable push button. So I need to go figure that out. It doesn't turn on and off caps lock. What this does? What this does is it's they call it a volume regulator, but basically when you twist it, it changes the volume, and when you press it, it mutes and unmutes. And if you press and turn, it if you press and turn, it will go forward or go backwards as well. So, Roy, I would absolutely appreciate it if you have a link. Yeah, so I was going to get one of these. That's what I wanted to get, was one of these major policy decision buttons. Like that, those will definitely work. The problem was every place that I looked, it like they weren't available until like July. And I live in the world of getting things the next day. So, this button I could get the next day. But yeah, I mean, I might just have to wait for one of these major policy ones. And I did think about this too, that if it could be programmed, you can map the function. So what I tried doing here, let's get into this a little bit. So what you can do, what did Thomas say? Just made yeah. Oh, so this is a good point too. Something that I used to see people doing, and I haven't seen it in a while, and it's actually a really good thing to do if you're not sure about somebody, is you tell the person like, hey, like, Johnny in the basement, hold up 2 fingers. And, if Johnny doesn't then hold up 2 fingers, that Johnny's, potentially a troll. Now, what happened on, unfortunately, one was that somebody actually did it live. Usually when these trolls do it, they, or at least one of the times I saw the troll do it, it was a video. They were playing one video, and then once you brought them up on stream, they switched it to a different video. I did see on another channel where it was an actual person that basically wasn't wearing pants, and once they got on screen, they sort of leaned forward, covered up the camera a little bit, stood up, and was, naked from the waist down. So, Adam says too, yeah. So I thought about getting one of the foot pedals, but all of the reviews said that they were very inconsistent. And, I've been looking into this for a little while now. So yeah, yeah, my next purchase should be an assistant. I wish. It's very hard to find good help. Very, very hard. Yeah, so I do have, and unfortunately, oh, here, I can do it this way. Do it with this one. I do have down here a Shuttle Pro. And I did think about just programming some of the buttons on here to do it. And yeah, it was just not good. Like it was just awful. Yeah, and so funny you say that. I mean, I thought about just building a little relay circuit and just making it myself, and then I decided that I wanted to make sure it was going to be reliable. But I do have this, and I thought about using it. The problem is it's still like something that you have to like look at and press a button. Whereas with this big guy, um, just because it's so much bigger, it's so easy, it's so easy to just hit it, right? I mean, it's just so. Um, oh yeah. So what I think I need to do is probably just go back and just order that one that Adam was talking about, and just wait till July till it comes here, and just kind of, uh, just kind of hope. But Randall, thanks so much for coming. Great having you here, and we'll check you out next time. And yeah, well, so that's the thing too, is when you first bring somebody up, you need to be paying attention. And yeah, so speaking of trolls, right? So Shannon's a great example of a troll. Uh, but yeah, so um, you have to pay attention when you first bring somebody up. So if you are in the middle of something and you're bringing up somebody you don't know, you kind of got to pay attention for a little bit until you kind of get into the conversation and figure it. It's not going to be somebody that, can talk model trains, right? So if you bring somebody up and immediately you're talking model trains, it's very likely they're not a troll. At least that's my experience. It's more likely somebody will come up and they'll be like, so what is this model train stuff you guys do, or whatever. And then you kind of know you gotta watch the person. I would love it if I could figure out how to get an easy button that did it. The big red buttons that are like the easy button are like $60, and this button here was, I think, 30, and that's about what those other buttons that Adam was talking about earlier cost, was about $30. So wasn't sure I wanted to spend 60. I figured I could spend 30, but I didn't want to wait. Um, and what Anthony says is right, and that's why too. So for Modeling Monday, uh, it's an email list, and I kind of vet the people for Modeling Monday. It's a night show, so it's more likely to attract people that I don't know. If somebody came up, like, I'm posting the link and the password in the posting the link and the password in the chat, so people could show up. If I don't know them, they're not coming up tonight. On Friday, though, Friday during the day, there are some people that are new to the channel that, will email me or whatever. And yeah, and this is the other thing, right? Is I don't want a button that's going to misfire. I want something that's going to be reliable. Um, and so it's not $60 for the plastic button. What you're really paying for is the circuitry inside that converts the Breton press into a basically a keyboard. So let's get into this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go. Everything could crash right now when I hit this settings button, but what I'm gonna do is hit the settings button in OBS, and hopefully everything is still working, and hopefully everyone can still see me. And what we're gonna look at is this hotkeys page. And you could basically assign any button press or any series of button presses to I don't know what people are saying in the chat. I am so confused by Yeah, well, that's the other problem too, is we're all model railroaders, so uh we are all a little bit weird. But so you can assign hotkeys, right? So I have all of these different scenes, and if you notice, there's no hotkeys in here, right? So what I'm doing with what I'm doing uh, what I'm doing with these things is actually scripts. So with the iPad, I'm actually sending a script to OBS, and that script is triggering the scenes. But what I'm trying to do is actually send a keyboard press. So this, this button that I have, this, USB button, when I hit it, it's going to act like a keyboard and send out a keystroke. And it's that keystroke that I want to call up one of these scenes. So what I can do is, what do I call this? I think I called this scene like "Be Right Back" or something like that. So if I scroll down far enough, um, I can, well, you can get the idea. I have a lot of scenes. There's there's a lot that went into setting this up. So let's see if I scroll down. Here we go. So "Be Right Back" technical. That's the scene that I want to call up if something should go wrong. So what you can do is I can, do a series of keystrokes using the keyboard. So what I did is I went into OBS and Roy says, "I object. I'm not a little bit weird. I'm a lot weird." Yeah. Um, so I don't want to use Bluetooth. Wait, could you Bluetooth it to the iPad and hotkey it to an update key? Um, Not with this button. I don't want to use Bluetooth either. I want it to be a hardwired button. So that's the other thing, right? So the iPads are connected via Wi-Fi. So it's a Wi-Fi connection. I want it to be a hardwired button to the main computer so that there's, no air gaps, basically. Uh, yes, there are a lot of scenes that make up all of these scenes. Well, if somebody comes up here, you'd see some other scenes, but for right now, just the one scene. But so what I tried doing was connecting this button up, going into OBS, and then hitting the button and seeing did it send a keyboard command to OBS, because basically, if I hit whatever the buttons, you can see it. You can see it enters the button stuff in there, right? So if I applied this change, then if I wanted to switch the scene, I could hit Control-Alt-Shift-T. So what I was doing was I was hitting the USB button, saying, "What is it sending a command, to OBS?" And it wasn't. So I tried to map this button to the scene as it is, but it's not letting me. So what I needed to do was somehow get into the internals of it, of the software of it, and change it to a thing like, Control-Alt-Shift-Y, and then when I hit it, whatever. He's he's hitting buttons. What could go wrong? At Stream Elements. So what is the password? The password is, and it's a very, very difficult password as well. So pay attention. It's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And Andrew's correct, right? So you do have to be careful as well that it doesn't bounce or double tap. And what's good about it, or what's good about the way this works with OBS, is for the recalling of the scenes, it's not a toggle, right? So it's not like I hit the button once and the scene would come up, and I'd hit the button again and the scene would go away. The way I would program it is when I hit the button, it would cut to the scene. So I wouldn't even have it fade into the scene. I would set it up as a cut. So if I hit it like 5 times, it would basically just cut to the scene 5 times. It wouldn't cut myself out of the scene. So I am a pro button pusher. I've got a lot of buttons. It is kind of funny you actually say that. I worked in uh, live theater for many years, and I primarily did lighting. And one of the one of the things that I ended up doing a lot was programming the light board. The light boards became digital, and it became a sort of more of a computer operator's position. And the way live theater works is that the stage manager would call the show, and they would say, Q10 go, Q12 go. So all I was literally doing was listening to somebody tell me to go, and I would hit the button. Um, Rand Ellison, Heath has a muffin button now. You would watch. I don't know Miss Sackcox. I don't know who that is. Live theater has so many buttons. They absolutely do. I did not run an ETC Ion. I mostly ran a Obsession and an Obsession 2 and the whole Hog 2s. I kind of got out of theater when the Grand Amaze came out, and I never really worked on the Ions or I'm blanking on the other one. What's the bigger version of the Ion? Check out FLIRC. It's a USB programmable IR device. Yes, you can program it via IR. But does it hardwire to the computer, or is it just a oh, see, I forgot to assign you to the scene. Is it hardwired after you program it, or is it not? So I don't know if people know Edward Cady. How you doing, Edward? Let's see if people can hear you, which is usually an issue.
Yeah, that's how we have to say this issue. That's when it's
Yeah, and of course I'm having problems. There we go. Yeah, I think say that again. No, we can hear you. Okay, you're a little bit you're a little bit steppy, but yeah, Steve was on Wi-Fi, and I think that's a lot of the reasons why we were having problems. Oh, you program it and then you stick it in the USB port. Dragon Ball Tech, if you could send me a link to what you're talking about, I would really appreciate it. And John from Mystic Southern Railway is saying you should stand up to prove you're wearing pants, and you don't have to do that. No, he's even got his suspenders on. So yeah. So I mean, the idea is right. So let's say Edward came up, and let's say Edward was a troll, and he did stand up. The time it would take me to actually like get over, like, that time is what I don't want. I want to just be able to like smack, just smack that button. Um, yeah, quiet and tiny sounding, I think, is just he's in a room that's a little echoey, or at least I think that's what it is. Yeah, I'm still working out the bugs of this system, that's for sure. And I tried to set it up so that you would come in at 720p 30, which would have theoretically done better, but you're definitely don't go anywhere. Hang out for a second. I'm gonna I'm gonna uh boy, this oops. Yeah, I'm having a I don't know what the issue is today, but there's something going on. Let me try changing this. So stop this. Let's remove. Oh, it's not in here. Let's remove this. This optimize equals 0. And let's start it up again. And let's bring you back into the scene. And let's see if you're any better or not. Now you're better. So it's so there's a things are going wrong. Now we're up to speed. Yeah, exactly. It's a Dragon Ball Z super meme that's on his channel, Heath, where the main character uses a muffin button to get out of sticky situations. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I've used both AMX and Crestron. No sound. Video is better, but they can't hear you. Say something, Edward? Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a problem. I don't think it's you. I think it's boy, man. Try talking now, please. Oh, I see what happened. Ugh. Hold on. Hold on. I'm sorry, everybody. This is, it's. We'll go here. I'll fix him, and then I need to fix everybody else. I couldn't figure out why I was having this problem, and I know exactly what the problem is. And I guess the one good thing, right, is that I actually know what the problems are when I have them. So let's try this
Now the
again.
question is, can you fix them?
I don't know. We'll see if people can hear you. They should have just been able to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. So yes, that
Or
is
should I
correct.
be holding a cell phone up?
You should probably be holding a cell phone up. So now, of course, what I have to do is I have to go fix the rest of them. So if somebody else does come up here, we can hear the somebody else. And it's,
So theoretically, hear Steve again.
hopefully not. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, theoretically. Let me. Oh, oh, oh. I need.
Oh, oh,
Oh, oh. So did we get through the conversation of the button? Does everyone understand at least what I'm trying to do with the button? And I am having a problem because let's just start here. So there's 1, there's 2, there's come on, there's 3. So for people that are,
I hear 4.
yeah, if anybody's curious what I'm doing, I'm using something called virtual audio cables, and every guest that comes in has their own, uh, their own audio feed. Good night, John from Schuylkill River Valley. And the
Yes.
reason that I'm doing that is because it allows me to. I've got noise suppression on right now, but it also just enables me to be able to, should I need to get rid of the one person's sound and everything without, impacting everybody else. So theoretically, now if somebody else came up here, things would be working. Okay, so Roy understands about the button, and honestly, that's all I care about. And Lynn McCurdy does as well. And now I'm hearing echo because you're not wearing headphones. Yes, Steve. If Steve Childers comes back, we're gonna dub his lines in from somebody else. So basically, it's like around the horn, where the host can mute his guests. Exactly. It's a control thing, right? I mean, I'm a little bit of a control thing. Judy's. I understand all about Buttons. This is a hobby of buttons, isn't it? That's for sure.
Well, it's more switches than buttons.
I guess that's true. Um, Mr. McTovid, no headphones, but he is wearing pants. Thank God. Thank God. You don't have to show us. You don't have to show us. You want the button to video or audio mute the guest? Both. Well, so what I'm going to do, so I keep saying so. Basically, when I hit the button, what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm just going to go to this. And then once I go to that screen, then I can just remove the guest. So that's kind of the theory behind it all.
Did that get rid of the echo?
Yeah, I don't hear any echo anymore. So
All right.
Rick Bailey saying, I've got more buttons than George Jetson. It is kind of funny, right? I mean, you look at these, get out these, it's like we just have so many damn buttons on everything that we do. It's like, how do you find anything quickly? There's just way too many buttons. Yeah, everything it's all buttons. And then if you have, two throttles, right? I mean, it's like more buttons, right? And then I've got all the buttons on the iPads and all the buttons on the keyboard. And
So where's your flying car?
my flying car. What flying car?
Yeah, I said the Jetsons.
Oh, the Jetsons. I wish I had a flying car. I've got a little trolley that goes back and forth. And I didn't talk about this yet either. I've got a Halley's Comet car now, which was the Roy Eltham. Did you get your Halley's Comet car? That's the last car in the Microtrains Solar Series. Was that Halley's Comet car? So that was kind of exciting. Oh, good. Tina Marie's here. Yes. So Tina Marie, thank you. I didn't know what it was called. So here's the problem with the dump button is that promotion for CRM. What's CRM in this reference? So the problem with the dump button is I'm interacting with the chat as well as with the people on screen. So if I have a dump button that gives me a 7-second delay, then that means, I've already got about 7 seconds delay to the chat. I'd be adding another 7 seconds. The other issue I have with the dump buttons is the only ones that I know of are like $100,000. Now, if you know of one, I'm glad you're here, because if you know of one that's cheaper, I would love to learn about it, because it definitely might be something that I look into. And just to summarize really quickly for Tina, because she's got here and she understands this stuff much better than I do, because she's in the business. So my plan is that, so let's say Edward was a troll. So my plan was that I would hit this button, and what this button would do is just bring up. So it would just take me to a scene that basically just covers everything up. So that, I see why they're saying C Mark, because every time, because that's the first one that pops up. That's funny. I didn't notice that. I can hit this one, and we can talk about my new sponsor. PGH Train Fanatic is a new sponsor on the channel, Background Flats. So we can, or we can do this one, Iron Planet Hobbies, 10% off. So I do have other options. But so instead of doing a dump button that does the 7-second delay and then needs to, have the algorithms and the whatnot to make up the time, I'm just going to hit the button. Yes. So if I understand this right, Heath has fixed the problem he doesn't have. I have not had the problem yet, but last week on Thursday night, they had the problem twice in a matter of like 5 minutes. And um, I just feel like if I'm going to be posting the link in the chat for people to come up on screen, that I have to be responsible for what gets put out on my channel. So,
Yeah, at New Treks we wound up getting trolled twice and all that. And the one thing I've noticed is that they're usually come in packs. You know, they're like, "Ooh, here's something where we can, everyone can jump
yes,
on them and all
yes,
that." And
yep,
you're almost hitting like whack-a-mole trying to, get them
yes,
off and all that.
yep,
That's why we've changed our some of our procedure where you have to actually go to the website, sign up, and then you're emailed the Zoom link along with the passwords and all that.
yep. And that's like what I'm doing for Modeling Monday, right? Is you have to email in. I have to know who you are, and I sort of vet people that way. But on my Friday streams, it's like to have to like email every person uh, that wants to come up and whatnot. Like it's uh, this button will enable me to kind of get around that, sort of.
Mhm.
So I might get a couple
Now,
frames, but
what's your max with the software that you use? How many people can you have on?
well, right now this is about it. I mean, it's not quite working right yet. So what I'm using, why I've been saying so instead of I've now moved on to saying so, and it's driving me crazy. And now that I've said it, it'll probably drive everybody else crazy as well. But so how do I bring up the splash screen or advertisement screen? So that's what I was talking about earlier within the settings here, where basically I'm gonna just assign a hotkey. So I'm gonna assign a hotkey, and then the button that I have will send that keyboard stroke, that keyboard command to OBS, and it'll bring up the other scene. No matter what you come up with, somebody will try and get it. Yeah, I know. So yeah, I already have I already have an up deck, but I can now I'm saying now you got me saying I already have an up deck button. This is the button here. It's called help. So I can just hit the help button, and that takes me there. But the problem with just uh, hitting the thing on the iPad is if I'm looking this way and the iPads are off to my right, then if something happens, I then have to look over. I have to find the button. It's on a touch screen. It's not a hard button. I then have to actually hit the button and not miss the button. And I'm taking my eyes off the screen to do that. So by having kind of the big button to just like whack, then I can uh, basically ensure that I'm hitting the button. Yes, so ideally, DB Tech. So ideally, what I would do is program a keystroke that's like Shift Control Alt 7, and when I hit this button, it would be like typing Shift Control Alt 7 on the keyboard, and that command would go, and then I'd program the hotkey uh, to do it. Hey, Robert. What's happening is we're doing a little tech talk tonight, and we're talking about problems that I don't actually have yet. So the chat wants a button to mute Heath. Well, technically you do have a button to mute Heath. It's got a little $sign on it. If you put enough money in the pot, I'll shut up.
I thought it was one of those things of the little X on the tab where you just close out the window.
There's that too. Uh, they can do that as well, but I prefer the money button.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
So you were asking. So currently, what I'm So we're changing topics. We're not talking about trolls right now. What I'm gonna do, I have never had to do an emergency black. Have I? Actually, that's not true. I think I have actually. We don't. You black the lights out, you bring the curtain in, and then you bring the work lights up. And yes, I have had to do that during a show. Here we go. Radio stations, we either have a small dump button on the board, or in the big station I worked, we had a dump button off to the left, which was a pain, but you had up to 7 seconds to hit it. Yeah, but what are the? Do you have any idea what the costs of those are? Because that's kind of that's what I'm curious about. The monolith tower is scratch built. Oh, they're talking about a video or pictures they shared. So the software that I'm running is basically OBS with OBS.Ninja with Ingester with a whole bunch of stuff. And the problem that I'm having is that I basically need a modern generation computer to be able to run it. I need like a 5950X with an RTX 3090. And if you know what that is, you know what that means. If you don't know what that is, I can explain it. It's not going to matter. But basically, yeah, see, even at $900, I don't make any money doing this. So even at $900, this button that I'm trying to integrate is $30. So maybe one day I can have a $900 dump button. But, for now.
Well, the thing is, you need to find a audio file that says, "Oh yeah, I had it's 10 years old, but it still works." That's
Right.
the type of deal.
Yeah. So the issue with the computer is it's an 8700X with a 1060, which is a 6-core 12-thread processor, and what I really need is like a 5950X, which is I think a 12-core 24-thread maybe or something. Basically, I don't have enough bandwidth. My water hose, I'm using a water hose to fill a pool instead of using a big thing. So I am set up. I keep saying so again. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. This is what I meant to do. I'm set up
Well,
to have 9 people on screen. So I can technically fill in all these people. The problem is if I get 9 people up here, my CPU starts crying. And yeah, DB Tech, man, if I could afford a dual quad core server, yeah, that would be pretty awesome. What N-Scale Cole? What is something you find at B&H? Are you talking about the 5950X? So, the 5950X is actually in stock at Micro Center right now. So I would need the 5950X, and I would need a new motherboard because it's a different mount than the 8700K. Obviously, Intel versus AMD, but so it'd be like $1,000. And right now, I just have, unfortunately, I have a lot more things to spend $1,000 on than a new computer right now. So for now, on my official shows, I'm calling my official shows my Monday and my Friday shows, I'm gonna stick with StreamYard for a little while. And once I can upgrade the computer, which I'm hoping will be in 6 to 12 months, I'll be able to roll this system out. And I like this system because, I've just got a lot more control. And, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it looks better on YouTube. I'm running at 30 frames per second instead of 60 frames per second tonight. Just to see if that helps with my CPU load. And it does seem to be a little bit lower, but not significantly that it matters. And yeah, for now, I wouldn't get the 3090. For now, I would just get the 5950X because I'm using CPU encoding for my streams and for most of the stuff. So it's really the threads on the CPU I need right now. And the 1060, the GPU that I have, is doing fine with what it's doing. I'm not coming close to loading it up, and that's the goal. The computer I actually have is actually a borrowed computer from a friend that builds computers. So we're talking about like spending like $2,000, and an RTX 3090 is not $2,000 in the real world. That's just what scalpers are charging. So I could build out the computer for $2,500. One, you just can't find a 3090 right now, and even though I can find the CPU, it's just a little over the budget right now.
Well, here's a question: how many Raspberry Pis you would have to get it to run on those? Make like a supercomputer of Raspberry Pis.
Probably half of one. Yeah, and TV animation we did 30 frames per second. The reality is I probably don't need to do more than 30 frames per second. And 1080p at 30 frames per second at 6,000 kilobytes per second is more than enough to have a really good picture. The problem is, even with StreamYard, which I could pay $50 to do the 1080p 30 at 6,000 kilobytes per second, I don't think it looks as good. I can see pixel smearing when it like my slideshow at the beginning. I see pixel smearing when it goes from one slide to the other, and I'm not I'm just not playing that game. Okay, so on my computer, so you know what I wish I should have. Mr. Pictovid actually made a little thing for me, but I'll try and explain it. Lynn McCurdy, I need my NASA club members to understand a small part of this. Yeah, I know I'm going down the rabbit hole a little bit, but that is what tonight's about. A little bit is about the rabbit hole. So let me answer Tina's question though. So I'm currently running 4 computers. I have
only 4.
Yeah, only 4. I have a main streaming computer, which is so this is the main streaming computer, and then up here is another laptop, and that is running what I'm calling my broadcast feed. That's the feed that I'm broadcasting to all of my guests. So what Edward is currently seeing is being encoded by that laptop up in the corner up there. So the other thing is, now I have 2 other computers. That's another computer, and this is another computer. And I'm remoting into these 2 computers on the main streaming computer. This computer here is my director's panel. So this is the panel where, like, I click, you can't see my mouse, but like if I click one of these buttons, this is what would add or remove Edward into my scene. So it's kind of my basement. And then what's over here, this is what pops up the various things. Oh yeah, and Mr. Poe was saying and 2 iPads. Oh, that's true. Yeah. So I don't. It's not set up right now. It's not set up right now, but yeah, I can go to. Give me 1 second, and I'll do it really quick. PROM. Go.
So I'm assuming this video setup is about half your electric bill.
It's not cheap, that's for sure. So the other thing that I'm doing is I also have a teleprompter feed, so you can't really make it out. It is unfortunately not very bright. Let's try that. There we go. So I've got a teleprompter too. So theoretically, I always forget to look at my guests. So you can kind of see now up here in the picture. Oh, you can't see it because now I made him big. That doesn't work. Let's see. So you can kind of see the picture up here. So the picture up here is basically the same picture that I'm sending out to everybody else. When I log on, New York City dies. I've been told that, yeah, I've been told that audio quality is more important than video quality. Your guest has crummy audio because they use built-in computer or cell phone audio. The audio quality is poor. And that's 100% correct, that audio is significantly more important. And again, so here, this is the main mic I use, which is this shotgun mic here. And then I also have, you've seen this if you've seen my recorded videos. I use this microphone here for recorded stuff. So this has pretty good noise isolation, as well as the shotgun's got pretty good noise isolation. So yeah, I've got I don't know if you can tell, but I'm wearing in-ear monitors. So, it all goes through a you can't see it because this camera is in the way. And I'm not gonna be able to show it to you, but I've got an audio interface up here. And all my microphones go into that audio interface and then go down into the computer. You can see too, I've got these two soft boxes up here. So when I'm doing work on the bench, I got that. And I've got some lights up here for my face. And then, well, obviously you can see I've got, lights and stuff behind me as well. And for people that wanted to see a train running, there we go. There's a little train running. So yeah, let's check in. Nothing like keeping it simple and easy to run a live stream. You can 100% take your iPhone and do a live stream. There's absolutely no reason that you can't do that. And there's no reason that your content can't be top quality on your phone. My goal is to offer or to provide top quality content and have it be as easily accessible as possible. And what I mean by easily accessible is that when you're watching one of my videos, you're not thinking about the quality of the video. You're not thinking about the quality of the audio. All of those things are kind of removed so you can just focus on the content. So what I'm doing is 100% overkill, 100% not necessary. So here's the other part of it is before the pandemic, I was a project manager for an AV company, and I used to do large scale AV events, large scale corporate events. So, 10,000 guests with, all kinds of, 10,000 people coming to see it with, panels on stage that would constantly change, like big corporate events.
Instead of the 28 you have now.
So the 28 people I have now. So, well, I wouldn't be on stage. I would just be the project manager. I was always behind the camera, never in front of the camera. That's for sure. But when the pandemic happened, I recognized that a lot of this stuff was moving online. So part of my setup is me learning more for my career. And when
Gotcha.
I say career a little bit as a, I don't know if euphemism's the right word because I don't have any career right now. I've been unemployed for over a year. But me setting all of this up and me testing all of this and me, seeing how far can I push it and still have a stable connection. The goal is that once more of these events start happening, that I'll have a lot of this experience that I wouldn't have had otherwise. Okay. So now
Yeah.
I
So
said that.
basically you were setting this up as your resume.
Correct. Yep. So ironically, I started this. Ironically, that's not the right word. So yes, Mark's asking if we're going to see trains run. Right. This is a modeling channel. Yes, that is. It is. And on my Monday streams and Friday streams, I'm keeping them train related, and on Sundays I'm keeping them train related. But tech is a huge part of our community and how we interact with each other. And there are a lot of people that are really interested in it. So, I'm starting this series called Technology as a Tool, Not an Obstacle. And what I want to do is I'm kind of getting to the point where I want to have, like, if somebody is interested in setting up their own system or learning a little bit more, or they're having a problem, let's say, I want to start inviting people up to join me on this stream, and we'll work through whatever their issues are live so that everybody can see what's going on. Um, so yeah, I used to be in tech theater, yep, and was a PM. I actually was never really an audio guy. I once did audio, and the A1, who's the main person, asked me, who I was being the A2 at the time. He said, "I think there's a problem with that set of speakers. Can you go check it out?" And I was actually a lighting guy. So I went in and, I looked at the speaker and I'm like, I don't know anything about audio. So I called him back on the radio and I said, "The lights are on the speaker. So I guess it's working." I'm not an audio guy. I'm more of a lighting and automation guy. Uh, but yeah, I mean, tech theater was rough. Yeah, and I do look at my analytics. I looked at my analytics and I couldn't believe that so I'm numbering my tech series T1, T2, T3, T4. And my live streams are L1, L2, L3. My uploads are just, I think they're just the numbers, I think. And I went back and looked, and my last week's T3 stream, I had the longest continuous viewership that I've ever had. Basically, for 17 minutes on my last week's stream, nobody left, which is that's very unusual. So I do also look at the analytics. So what happened is I started this because I wanted to learn more about streaming, and I decided to use model railroading as my theme for my streams because I really enjoyed model railroading. What I didn't realize is that the community that is on YouTube of the model railroaders is a really amazing community. So I've actually made a lot of friends through this as well, and a lot of people that I've had some really great conversations with. And we did a meet and greet at Northlands, and it was just amazing to be able to meet people in person. So I did kind of initially start this as an experiment and to learn stuff. And one of my very early videos is called "If I Was a Live Streamer," and I did a recorded video of a potential OBS setup if I was going to live stream. And then Benny, Boxcar Benny, needed somebody to cover for his Tuesday night. He was one of the On Track Tuesday guys, and he asked me to do it, and I did the live stream, and then John from Schuylkill River Valley and Ray and Jason wanted to start doing a Sunday thing, and I joined that, and I've been really enjoying it. And yeah, I mean, computing power is an issue. I'm trying to make this where you're not my lab rats, but I have to test stuff to get better, and the only way to test stuff is to do it live. And it's funny because I do have up on the screen over here my current analytics. So I'm watching as I've been talking the last like 3 minutes. It's gone from I think like 29 viewers to like 25 viewers. So people people don't like me talking about why I'm doing this. Heath's
But one of
career
the
is a
things,
big. Yeah, I don't. Not too many people know me. Not too many people know me. But what were you about to say, Edward?
well, the thing is with new tracks modeling, I'm going through a Zoom meeting that's being recorded into YouTube, and pretty much live stream, and it's on a laptop. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm assuming what you're using, Heath, would not work on mine.
correct. What I'm using would not work. So why does StreamYard work on my Monday and Friday streams, and on Monday when I tried to use this exact setup, it didn't work? The reason is because all of that encoding is being done on somebody else's servers. So everything that's happening right now is being done on the computers in my apartment. All of the encoding is 100% on the computers here. OBS.Ninja, what I'm using to bring Edward into the conversation, is a peer-to-peer setup. So our conversation right now is not going through a server until it gets to YouTube. I mean, obviously, I'm streaming to YouTube, so it's going to YouTube servers. But we're not using Zoom servers. We're not using StreamYard servers. We're not using anybody else's servers except for what I am controlling here in my apartment. So
Mhm.
it enables me to do things that, I can't do. I'm 100%, not 100%. There's internet connections. There's all kinds of things, right? But I'm 100% in control as much as possible with what I'm sending, out to YouTube. And that's what I like. Yeah, people do seem to like watching me flail around. I was just
Well, that's
start
what you're
singing.
doing at the beginning.
Well, yeah, I mean I was, and it was a big mistake. I need to. I have. I don't have a copy here because I didn't print it out tonight, but I have a 3-page checklist. That's my pre-flight checklist of all the steps I need to do to turn on the 4 computers and the 2 iPads and the 3 cameras and the 2 microphones and all that kind of stuff. So why not set up a T1 line and set up your own server at your house and stream to that and take the load off your computer? The issue is the server. So the company I used to work for that does some live streaming. One of the things that they do is they use Amazon. What's AWS? Amazon Workstation? Amazon, whatever it's called. They use Amazon servers. So they rent server space on Amazon. And, you know, that works for a commercial operation. For what I'm doing, it doesn't pay, or it doesn't, it's very expensive to pay per pixel to to send it using something like Amazon. So yeah, getting my own server would be awesome. And technically, what's on what's on what's on this screen here is actually my media server. This is my media server that usually feeds my TV, and I'm stealing it right now for this. So Amazon Workspace Services, yeah, something. Heath is being modest. Check any other train related YouTubers. Big Bill, Jason Jensen trains. Blah blah blah. Among those others, they know him. I can't believe Jason Jensen would know me. I know Jason Jensen. I don't know that anybody. Roy's saying it's Amazon Web Services. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and if I could afford it, well, so if I build my own computer, it's a $2,000 to $2,500 one-time cost. So I would need that initial capital. To rent server space through Amazon Web Services, the initial upfront cost wouldn't be as much, but there would be an ongoing cost. So I kind of have to weigh out the two. I haven't done all the math. The project manager in me says that I should have done all the math already. I haven't done all the math yet, so I don't know. I don't know for sure which one is better, but I suspect that building my own computer is more cost effective than paying, especially as much as I'm now streaming. Right? If I was only doing one stream a month, then it probably makes sense to use Amazon Web Servers. With everything that I'm doing, I'm not as sure. So there's 22 people left. I'm gonna wrap this up in a little bit. What I do wanna say, they're not that expensive. That is very, very true. It's true. I should probably look into it more. Because renting a server for them and taking these 4 computers and putting all of it on their stuff, I would still need a computer here, obviously, but putting the brunt of the work on their stuff, it probably would make sense. What I'm nervous about is the bandwidth that I would use. Like if I have 9 people all logging into the one computer, I'm paying for the bandwidth of all 9 of those people. Plus, I'm paying the bandwidth going out to YouTube. And I feel like that bandwidth is going to add up quickly. Yeah, cloud is just a buzzword for somebody else's computer. That is very, very true. But so what I was going to say is, we're up to 28 now, apparently. But if people are interested in having these sort of technical conversations, cameras, microphones, software, hardware, if you have a streaming setup that you want help with, like, Roy's talking about AWS. It's like, maybe we should get Roy up here and let's, work out some math one night with, maybe it's, maybe it makes sense to do AWS and not build my own computer. And yeah, yes, the great thing about AWS is you only pay for the computers when you're using the computer. So I can turn the computer on, let's say an hour before my stream starts, turn it off when my stream ends, and I'm only paying for that time. So it's not so much the time that I'm concerned about, it's more the bandwidth. I might, doing these streams, I might have enough information. My router will do logs on the bandwidth that I'm using. I could probably look at a router log and actually kind of see what it is. But at Link30, what Heath is doing is closer to Model Railroad podcast, but that is not live and intensely edited, along with the fact that Heath is usually making something at the same time. Yeah, being the Tina Marie was talking. We were talking or I think she posted it. Oh no, it was in a comment section. It was posting a comment about that it's great to have a producer. And like, yeah, I mean, to have somebody else deal with all of this tech stuff would be great. That said, I would almost rather be the tech person and let somebody else be the host. But, that said.
Well, I mean, would that be an option for you?
Um, I'm gonna try and say this. Uh, Roy, let's talk, Roy. Let's go through the numbers a little bit. Um, my belief is that the reason people follow YouTubers is not for their tech. It's not even really for their content. It's for their personality. So, yes, um, I would love to support other people, and that's why, like, so what I'm saying is like tonight, like this sort of thing. If people want to up their tech game, like, email me, come on up. Let's let's talk about your setup. Let's talk about what you want to do, and let's figure out a way to make it happen. I love helping people with their tech, but I also feel like what is important for uh, my channel and what I've built for my brand is that, you know, for whatever little personality that I have, I think people come for the personality. I'm not afraid to show mistakes, and I actually think it's important to show mistakes, and I think that's something that might go away, to have somebody else as the host. If somebody else wants to do the show that way, though, that's their show and they can do it that way. I stopped the webcast network I own because the number of listeners went up so much I couldn't get the advertisers to cover the cost of the bandwidth. But that was back in 2011. It's interesting. Yeah. And this, what Roy's saying here too, right, is, let's say I buy a 5950X with a RTX 3090. It's going to be obsolete in 6 months. Then I got to buy another computer. So maybe, maybe renting the computer space, maybe that's the way to do it. Like maybe, and again, like this is why I do these streams, right? Is because Roy bringing this up in the streams, making me reconsider it, in a way
Yeah, at least,
I haven't considered it.
yeah, at least do the math and all that to see if how close it is.
Yeah, and I love my Excel spreadsheets, man. I mean, I love my Excel spreadsheets. So Roy, I mean, I don't know what you're doing next week, Roy, but I don't know if you want to come up, and I don't know how interesting it'll be to people, but we can talk about other things also. But if people want to improve their tech, uh, you're model railroaders, and you want to know how to record your layout better. You want to do your own streams. Uh, any of that kind of stuff. Email me, and let's start having these conversations regularly and seeing what we can make happen. Yeah, I should talk to you. I mean, I look at a company like Blizzard, right? That's got, crazy game servers, out the wazoo, and I know that, they do that where they throttle it on and off, and um yeah, and so right. So I'm not necessarily bringing you up as the expert, and I don't consider myself the expert. But what I feel like this space does is it enables people to just get together and have these conversations and get our minds going and think about things. So, Roy, if you wanted to come up and even just say, hey, let's go to the AWS website. Here's what you need to look at. Let's log into your router. We could look at it live. We could see how much bandwidth I'm pulling, right now on my router, and, do some math. You know, yeah, a lot of servers
Um,
you rent have a lot of different tiers based off your listers, so you don't have to pay for it. Yeah, and I would only have one lister, right? Because I'm only sending to YouTube. It's all the guests, I guess. Um, but yeah. What were we gonna say, Edward? Sorry.
Uh, I completely forgot what I was going to ask.
Hey, Drew Dudes, if you want to ship that server over here, I will. I'll happily store it for you in my apartment, and I'll only fire it up for live streams. I have looked. There's Joey says I do math. Don't want to deal with it at home. I do. I have looked into. There are some of these like gaming. They're company. So it's not like a server farm. It's more like I don't have a powerful computer, so I can rent a computer to play, let's say, Warzone, which is a very CPU intensive game, and then I'm just screen sharing into it. And they've somehow got the latency low enough that you could play Warzone over the internet on a computer on the server. But those servers, they're like $25 a month or something too, like crazy low costs and unlimited bandwidth and all that kind of stuff. And I looked into like, could I load my own software on those computers? And you can't. So I would need to go to a service like AWS. Is there a smaller company than AWS that I could use? Where I can, host my server on, Joe Blow's server farm instead of my server farm. And it's actually kind of funny, like as I'm saying this now, this wouldn't work for the Friday stream, but like for my Monday night stream at 6 o'clock, right? I mean, how many offices shut down by 6 o'clock on the East Coast that have servers sitting there virtually doing nothing? Maybe, one person's logged in. Like, what if there was a way to, use their servers somehow? But yeah, Roy says if we were talking about AWS, we'd only have about 3 viewers with that conversation. Probably true.
Well, I would have to say maybe with the. I'm not sure. I could be completely wrong on this, but my assumption is that with other, major businesses, that not many people will be logged into the servers, but the servers might be doing things like renderings or something like that running in the background, during that time. So they're still using the servers, but just not actively. It'll be more like running programs.
Right. And that's a little bit what I've that's a little bit what I'm talking about.
Mm.
They've already moved their servers to AWS or Azure. Yeah, but if you still have that old server sitting around, I mean, that old server will do me fine. Adam Cruz says I should use GeoCities. My first website was on GeoCities. I'm not all that familiar with OBS.Ninja, but it allow you to set its access to your cores. For example, when you use After Effects and compile it, you can set it take over the computer resources. The short answer is no. The longer answer is that the person that's developing OBS.Ninja is very, very interested in this peer-to-peer video sharing stuff improving. He never expected anybody to use OBS.Ninja the way I'm trying to use it. So he is now looking into how he can optimize things for my use case. So right now, my CPU usage is a little higher than I think it needs to be because it's just not optimized to be used this way. My understanding is, the more threads and the more cores that it would automatically use more of those. Every guest that I'm bringing in, right? So if I had 8 guests coming in and me, each of those are separate instances that would all be running on separate cores and threads. So, theoretically, Tyler, it is getting late. I'm gonna wrap up. I was gonna wrap up 10 minutes ago, but that that hasn't happened. Yeah, so and this is the whole thing, right? So Azure it's still Microsoft, right? It's Azure. And AWS obviously is Amazon. Um I didn't know so, I'm curious now. Ionis, I don't know much about them. But yeah, I gotta believe there are other options besides uh
Well, if
well,
there's,
so AWS is Google, I thought. Isn't AWS Google? No. No, sorry, they're not. Sorry. It's late. I'm tired. I'm sorry. They're not. Yeah, Azure is Microsoft, right? What is Google's service called? I don't know what Google service is called. Hey, Tina Marie, if if anything comes to your mind, as you're usually when I'm showering in the morning is when I get my good ideas. Oh, it's called Google Cloud. Okay.
how original.
Yeah. I guess the
Now,
question is, what's the cheap one? What's the cheap version for the little
well,
guy,
I
right?
know. Yeah. Now, you're saying that the service you're trying to, find the service of what you want for yourself. Now, if you don't find any service that will do what you want it to do, would you wind up turning around and making the service yourself and then making that as a business model to, sell it as a new company?
So funny you should ask that. Uh, one idea, the office space that I'm still working on trying to get, the electricity is included. And what I'm talking about with a friend of mine is if I build a 5950X with a 3090, is that we could mine Bitcoin whenever I'm not using the computer for streams myself. So yeah, I need to that's part of it, right? Is if I buy a beefy computer and I get this tech setup set up, there's no reason that I have to be the host. I could, new tracks could,
Mm-hmm.
pay me some fee, and instead of me being the host, Jim Kello would be, hosting it. And I would just be doing all the tech back end, and he would log in just like how you're logging in. And it would
Okay.
be, so the same way he logs into Zoom now, he would just log into OBS.Ninja instead, right? I mean, it's a
He'd be logging in
room and
if I
a
remember.
password.
Yeah, think he does new tracks on he does it on an iPad, I believe.
Well, and I mean here,
That's and the thing is that's why I'm sort of in the background, clicking things and all that because I'm on a computer and Jim is not tech savvy at all.
right? But
I mean,
he
but
could
but
absolutely log in on his phone, just using a web browser.
and yeah, and being the host, and then you be in the background moving things and letting people in and all that. Correct?
Right. So I would produce all the shows. Well, theoretically, right? I could produce all the shows and I could get a fee to be the producer.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you wanted a lower cost option, you would pay and then you would be the producer. And I would give you a remote, access to it over a VPN or whatever that I had set up, and you could, VPN in, and then, you would, basically you could log in and you would see this when you
Mm-hmm.
logged in, and you could control the show, right? Right now I'm controlling everything and doing CPU stuff on this, but
Yeah.
theoretically that CPU could be somewhere else. So Ron,
Yeah.
thanks so much for stopping by. Much appreciated. Hope things are well in Australia. I know you guys are coming into winter as we come into summer, so hope you guys stay warm down there. So, Yeah, so
Well,
that's
not too warm because of what was it? Last just around the time that COVID was hitting, they were having wildfires all over the place.
oh yeah, well, yeah, that's true too.
So
But
you
yeah, and
don't
I
want
guess
them too warm.
that's all stuff to look into, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's so hard to know what the correct answer is until like a year into it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I build my own computer. I could then have people VPN and I could produce their shows and make money as a producer producing shows for, our community or whatever. So instead of, I mean, this wouldn't be cost effective, right? But like instead of people paying StreamYard $50 a month, they could pay me $50 a month. And it's like couldn't survive on $50 a month. Like it would need to be more. But anyway, I could technically do that. Um, yeah, Andrew, I'll check that out. I don't have any CPU power to open up Facebook and look at my messages right now. I'll do that later. Uh, yeah, like I need to figure out like, do I pay somebody else to do all that, server stuff? Or do I build the server and then people pay me? Yeah, I don't know. Lynn, if I was gone, nobody would miss me. No, I don't know if that's true. Well, I mean, gone from YouTube, not gone from. Okay, so what do I do for work? Currently, what I do for work is
It's what he's
I
doing right now.
is what I'm doing right this moment. Uh, and I would, or and I, fill out the unemployment insurance stuff every week, and I make sure I do that. There are other things that I do. I'm consulting with a company. The company's called Watershed Moment. We're a business consulting and recruiting company. So I'm trying to help people like me that are out of work, that were in the live entertainment business, that, as things are opening, we're trying to help people get back to work. So I'm consulting with that company. Before the pandemic and before all this stuff, my background's in theater. I worked on Broadway. I worked in Lincoln Center at the Metropolitan Opera House. I worked in a bunch of like large New York theaters. Got out of that, and then I did architectural lighting for a while as a project manager. Left that. I started installing LED displays. So like if you go to Times Square and you see the big LED displays, I used to work for a company that uh, manufactured them, and I worked on installing them. What I did right before the showstopper is I was a project manager for a live events company, and so how do I like corporate event stuff like I can't think of an example right now off the top of my head, but like like let's say you see like Samsung does a big launch of a new phone, right? So I would be the project manager for the AV company. So we would do the LED display that's the background wall. We would do all the audio. We do all the video. We would mix the feed. We'd send the feed to the guy that sends the, encodes it and blah, 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 blah. So long story short, I'm a project manager that live streams on YouTube to try and bring in a little bit of extra money to make ends meet until things come back. But I'm loving this, man. I love like this sort of tech exploration stuff. Um, I'm having like I was terrified to start. Let's look at this camera because I think it looks a little better. I was terrified to start airbrushing. I am having such a good time now airbrushing, and like the layers of coloring, uh can't really tell, but there's like multiple layers of like red and black, and may have been some yellow on this, and like I'm having a great time airbrushing. And I never would have attempted it if it wasn't for being a part of this community. And, I saw Rick Bailey set up his airbrush. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm not getting into it because it just seems so complicated. But then, just from talking to people and seeing stuff and whatever, um, I figured I'd give it a try, and it's surprisingly, it's gone pretty well, and I'm loving it. But I also love the tech stuff, so it's kind of like both sides. I love both sides of it. Come help Panasonic fix the LED display outside Denver International. They can't seem to keep the $20 million project working correctly. Yeah. Panasonic, well, I'm not going to talk about other companies, but yes. Keeping LED displays running is tough. Yeah, first, starting to airbrush is hard, and the other reason was before I started airbrushing, everything I was working on was N scale. This is HO scale. The Walthers NMRBO contest, the cost of being able to afford those kits and then experiment, it's enabling me to kind of, try things without it being very expensive. Yeah, airbrushing always seemed so daunted. Then I tried it and it felt like an extension of my hand while painting. I'm not quite there yet, but it's, I hope not. But so well, let me answer, Lynn, yes. I love airbrushing. I hate cleaning it up. One thing that I'm looking to get is a ultrasonic cleaner. I actually have one on my Amazon wish list. It's like $65. You finish with it, you toss it in there, and it just cleans it, and it's just great. Yeah, see, I always have problems with rattle cans. I would overspray, and things would just go everywhere, and I was not good with rattle cans, but I'm much better with airbrushing, especially because I got the little, the airbrush I got isn't very powerful, so that also really helps. Yeah, we should get. I would get into 3D printing if I had two things. One, the space. The second thing is because I'm N scale, I would probably want to get into resin printing. And resin printing's got its share of stuff that I need to consider. When I get the office, I'm going to have some conversations again to see whether resin printing is something that I can manage. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But a quick story. I was watching a live stream, and I think it was like one of the Meet the Streamer people. Thanks, Joey. Joey, anytime you want to come talk cameras, I love, especially still cameras. I love still cameras too. So yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone's batteries are dying out now.
Yeah. So okay. So quick story, and then we're gonna end this. I think it was like a Meet the Streamer stream. Oh no! It wasn't a Meet the Streamer. I know what it was, but it was two people that usually do their own streams. So they're both hosts of their own streams, but they're on a stream together, and the one is supposed to be interviewing the other. But just like what's happening here with me and Edward, because I'm like the host, and because at the beginning I was the only one here for so long, I got a little bit into the pattern of like, holding the show, like keeping the show going. So I got into the talking and into the whatever. If you ever get a chance to watch a stream where it's two hosts that are very good at talking by themselves to the camera for like an hour or 2 hours straight, and you watch one of them try and interview the other one, it was hilarious because the host like couldn't stop talking to let the person he was interviewing talk. And then once the person that was interviewing started talking, they would never stop. They would just keep going and going, because when you're hosting your own show, you're trying
That's what
to
you're doing all the time.
yeah, you're trying to like, think a little bit ahead to get to the next topic, to, make the transition, so you're not waiting for something external to give you the idea, right? Like, yes, you've got the chat. Yeah, Roy, we're gonna talk. Oh, Windex. I gotta get some Windex to clean the airbrush. That's what I keep forgetting. Yeah, that'd be fun. We could have the Nikon versus Canon debate. I'm just kidding. They're tools. And again, that's what this is about. Technology is a tool. Nikon, Canon, Mac, PC, they're tools. And they're only as valuable as whether they get you the results that you want.
And that's with any tool.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I started this series, and that's what I want this series to be about, is there's no reason you can't do your streams. I don't know if people know it's my iPhone case. You could 100% do your streams with your phone. If you're getting the results you want, then it's the right tool for what you want. And any tool is a hammer, including an Athearn Blue Box locomotive. Works very well as a hammer if you need it. So, Edward, before we wrap up, and if anybody's got anything going on, post it in the chat now, and we'll take a look at it. But, Edward, you got anything you want to share with the folks before you head out?
Well, I would have to say I made it to this one because of we had a short meeting at New Tracks Modeling tonight. Our main person that was supposed to show up today, I'm not quite sure what happened, but they had something they couldn't make it tonight, so it was a short night. And since it was such a short night, I was able to come and say hi.
Awesome.
But it's every Wednesday and Saturday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. It's New Tracks Modeling. I think we're in the process of possibly pivoting. It's one of those things of, it's one of those things that I'm not quite
build alongs, I thought.
Yes, that's what it seems to. Okay. That's sort of seems to be the pivot, but it's one of those things of it's sort of like in the early stage, so this might be a little bit preemptive. But basically, someone said it's like, normally they're about 2 hours long, which is, once you have all the little build alongs and stuff like that, and then you have somebody with as a main person turning around, like a clinic
type thing,
a clinic type thing, and then somebody shows off what their skills are. The main modeler, usually takes about 45 minutes or something like that, and it winds up being over 2 hours. And somebody was saying that, it's like having it down to 1 hour probably would not be that bad. But the thing is that might not be for a while, because Jim Keller, who's the host,
booked.
has already people booked and all that. So that might be a while if that does happen. But every Saturday and every Saturday and Wednesday at 7 o'clock at 7 o'clock Eastern time.
And it's newtracksmodeling.com, correct?
Yes, that's the website. Just you can either watch it on YouTube, or if you want to be in the Zoom meeting, you have to go to newtracksmodeling.com to sign up, and then we'll send you the password and all that. That's how we that's how we figured out how to get rid of the trolls.
Right. And that's, for me, Modeling Monday, same kind of thing. It's you email me at my email address and I hook you up. That said, I do have an email list but it's more. The email list is not. It's not for Modeling Monday. It's email.humancity.org, and the email list is more just for like updates on what's going on with the channel and that kind of thing. But Edward, I'm gonna kick you out of here and see if anybody's got any
All right.
any
See you later.
comments going on. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it, and
Thanks for having me on.
we'll catch you next time.
Yep.
See, I just hit the button and I completely missed it. So yeah, I'm a huge fan. People are talking about Tested in the chat. Man, Adam Savage has been doing all these like 1-day builds and stuff like that on YouTube, and he's been doing like Q&As and stuff where he talks about some of the background stuff that they're doing, and I just think it's amazing. Yeah, right. So I haven't sent any emails yet. I'm still being very very cautious. I don't want to over email people, and I'm trying to decide whether I should email people before every live stream I do, or whether like at the end of the week I should just do an update on everything that I've done. I'm still trying to gauge like how many emails I should send, because I get a ton. I just get a ton of emails, and I just don't want to, I don't want to put that on other people. Ken, Boomer Dioramas is fantastic. I haven't seen any of his airbrush care videos, but that's a great channel, Boomer Dioramas, if you haven't seen it. So Lynn McCurdy on the 22nd, going to try live YouTube with my old iPhone 7. Lynn, if you want any help, if you want to do a test stream or anything, let me know, and we'll talk about that. Adam Cruz just finished wiring up trucks for lighting. Yeah, the 1-day builds and the Q&A is Tested. Adam Savage, man, just great. Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking, Drew Dudes. I'm thinking I'm going to start with a weekly update. I think the weekly is what I'm going to do, and that's kind of why I haven't done one yet, is I'm kind of, yeah. Email list is a little bit more for just, letting people know what's going on than actually giving them sort of reminders about my videos. So weekly is probably good enough, maybe even bi-weekly. We'll see how things are going. But thank you, everyone, so much for being here. Thank you so much for all the super chats and super stickers. If you do want to join me next week for Technology is a Tool, Not an Obstacle, definitely send me an email and we'll get there. Robert says he's already got me on his spam list. So yeah, I'm sure you do, Robert. I'm sure you do. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a really fantastic evening, and I'll see everybody around.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.